向精神薬には数多くの身体的精神的副作用があることが分かっています。多くは本当に耐え難いものです。しかし向精神薬の副作用がそんなにひどいのなら、なぜそれを取り続ける人がいるのでしょうか。市場に出回っている薬品の安全性は精神科医と製薬会社、そして政府機関に委ねられています。彼らは向精神薬の副作用の大半を渋々認めたとしても、あることだけは絶対に触れようとしません。
Every single one of these drugs are addictive, psychologically and or physically addictive.
They change your body's makeup, you change your body how it reacts to things. And so even though people, in their psychological state, they may be over their depression, they physically will need that drug still. And so that becomes the complication of getting them off.
I have people come to me on a weekend, they've run out of refills, and they say to me, if I don't take this drug, I'm going to get sick. If I don't take this drug, I'm going to get sick. We don't talk about psychologically. We don't talk about depression. We don't talk about anxiety. I am going to get sick if I don't take this drug this weekend. It has nothing to do with psychology.
しかし最近の米国精神医学会の会合に来た精神科医は中毒性についての質問にこう答えています。
How addictive are psychiatric drugs?
They aren't. Only benzodiazepines.
They're not addictive at all.
Antidepressants are not generally considered addictive.
SSRIs are not addictive.
Antipsychotics, they don't cause addiction.
Major tranquilizers are all safe as far as addiction is concerned.
The drugs that most of us are using in neuropsychiatry are not addictive at all.
では誰が正しいのでしょうか。直接体験した患者に尋ねてみるのが一番です。
The psychologists and psychiatrists, I went to both. They never told me that they would be addictive. They would cause me to have these thoughts.
For sure, the psychiatric drugs I was on was addicting.
Within six months to 9 months, I was hooked.
Boy, Xanax had a hold of me. I mean, I was going through a bottle of pills every 3 or 4 days.
I lost my job over it. Over a prescription drug that's not supposed to be addictive, I lost my job.
The reality is that it is addicting. It will wreck a person's life.
中毒をめぐるこの食い違いは言葉の定義が原因です。多くの人が中毒とは特定の物質に対する抑制できない精神的身体的欲求のことであると考えています。しかし精神科医は違います。同じ薬への欲求がどんどん高くなっていくことと定義しているのです。一方で薬を取り続けたいという抑制できない欲求は依存として分類されています。そのため精神科医は精神薬に中毒性があることを認めません。
In their definition, a very small percentage of people become addicted. The reality is a large percentage of people can't get off these drugs, and they call that dependence. It's all a matter of how they term it.
And when you look at addiction, it could be that their tolerance increases and their needs and wants to use the medications increase, or it could be they simply, once they start on the medication, they're not able to come off of it without help. They try to, and as soon as they try to come off the medications, they start to have symptoms that are unwanted and obviously keep them wanting to take the medications again.
When you explain to them how addictive it is, they are surprised because they're like, well, it's a prescription. So I do believe that a lot of people don't really know how harmful these meds are. They don't view them as dangerous as some of the street drugs.
しかし、多くの向精神薬が街角で違法に売買されています。特に注意欠陥や多動と診断された子どもたちに処方されるタイプの薬がそうです。リタリンやアデロール、コンサータといった中枢神経刺激薬には強い習慣性があり、米国麻薬取締局では第2種の薬物に指定しています。モルヒネやコカインと同じ分類であり、強い中毒性があることを示しています。
Biochemistry and pharmacology of Ritalin is exactly the same as that of cocaine, except for the speed of onset.
学校で薬物乱用が問題になっていることを見ても、リタリンとコカインの類似性は明らかです。リタリンやその類似物のアデロールの錠剤を子どもたちが学校内で気晴らしに取っているのです。
Some of my friends took Ritalin and Adderall just to get high, like that I've known throughout the years. kids will chop that stuff up with a razor blade. It's pure, man. Pure drug, you know? That's why kids like it. They chop it up with a razor blade and snort it.
My cousin Sammy had this Ritalin, and we would eat it, and we'd be able to stay up all night and play video games. It was, your pupils would dilate. It was just outrageous.
Matter of fact, in 8th grade, I got kicked out of school 3 days before it let out for selling Ritalin and actually snorting lines in the back of the classroom. So yes, sir, it definitely caused me some problems there, and I definitely had people buying them from me. Yes.
これは小さな問題ではありません。2006年の調査によると、アメリカでは700万人以上が中枢神経刺激薬を乱用し、毎年7万5千人の青少年が中毒になっていることが発覚しています。中枢神経刺激薬は使用者を中毒にするだけでなく、入り口のドラッグとしても知られているように、コカインやヘロイン、覚醒剤などのより中毒性の高い違法薬物へと導きます。
When you provide drugs in a manner in which most of our children are being provided drugs at an early age in life, only prepares that child to be on more drugs as they get older.
しかし最近の出版物によると、精神科医は ADHD と診断された子どもたちがコカインなどの違法薬物に手を出す危険性を減らすために中枢神経刺激薬を飲ませることを実際に推奨しています。しかし証拠によればこの理論は事実無根であり、その逆が真実です。
When I've spoken to people who are methamphetamine addicts, they said that the drug that they started taking almost consistently was Ritalin.
The longer a child is on Ritalin, the more the likelihood that they may become addicted, whether it's Ritalin or Concerta or Adderall, okay, or a number of other drugs.
中枢神経刺激薬以外にも中毒になる可能性が高い向精神薬が存在します。例えばベンゾジアゼピンは投薬して14日以内で中毒になりうる精神安定剤です。例えばベンゾジアゼピン系のザナックスは売り出されてからわずか5年後には毎年150万人が中毒になっていました。薬をやめるのは非常に困難です。ザナックスの離脱症状には震え、食欲低下、筋痙攣、記憶力・集中力の障害、不眠、興奮、パニック障害、不安神経症などがあります。
Some of the psych medicines, particularly the benzodiazepines, are some of the most addictive drugs there are in terms of the persistent withdrawal anxiety that these drugs cause.
I have been in the position of having to withdraw a number of people from benzodiazepines that I didn't put on them, obviously. And it's difficult. It's really difficult.
Prescription benzodiazepines, I think, are much more dangerous and much harder to come off of for the patient than the street drugs are.
しかし中毒からの生還者によれば、使用を止めるのが極端に難しいのはベンゾジアゼピン系の薬だけではありません。
I had about a 10-year time frame in my life where I abused both street drugs and prescription drugs. And the drugs that were the hardest to come off of, in my opinion, were the psychiatric medications. And I mean worse to come off of than a drug like heroin.
Withdrawal symptoms from the psychiatric drugs just made my mind go crazy. I couldn't think. I couldn't form coherent thoughts whatsoever.
I was racing. I had highs and lows, ups and downs, hot and cold sweats.
I went through seizures. I was sweating with night sweats so bad I was wetting my bed just with sweat.
I had tremors really bad. I mean, I joked that I looked like I had the end stages of Parkinson's disease, but you couldn't even hold me still when I was going through withdrawals. My legs would shake. I couldn't sleep.
No one in the world should have to go through what I went through, in my opinion, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
妊娠中に向精神薬を取っていた女性から生まれた新生児も離脱症状を経験する場合があります。このような乳児はイライラ、多動、異常な睡眠リズム、嘔吐、下痢などを経験し体重が増えないこともあります。それは向精神薬からの離脱に伴う副作用に付け加えられたものに過ぎません。そうした副作用は破滅的な結果を招く恐れがあります。
Now the person stops taking the drug, and the effects of the withdrawal or the effects of stop taking the drug are increased and amplified symptoms like the depression or suicide ideas, or etc.
They have tremendous mood swings. They invariably get violent. They cannot control their emotions.
You're very depressed, you're suicidal, you're hallucinating, you're psychotic, you're crazy, you're manic when you stop taking your medication.
そのため特に抗うつ薬 SSRI の使用を不適切に注視すると極端な気分の変動や抑制できない怒りが引き起こされます。最近起きた大量殺人事件の多くにこういった症状が関与しています。例えば1998年5月15歳のキップ・キンケルはプロザックの服用を止めた直後に両親を銃殺、次にオレゴン州の自分が通っていた高校に乗り込んで銃を乱射、さらに2人を殺害、25人を負傷させました。2007年11月、ペッカ・エリック・オービネンはフィンランドのヘルシンキにある自分が通う学校で8人を銃殺しました。この事件に先立ち、彼は社会不安障害のために処方されていた抗うつ薬の服用量を減らすか注視していました。2008年のバレンタインデーには北イリノイ大学でスティーブン・カズミエル・チャクが学生で満員の講堂に入り発砲、5人を殺害、18人を負傷させました。彼はその数週間前に抗うつ薬の服用を突然止めていました。しかし精神科医はこういった悲劇の原因が中毒性の高い抗精神薬の離脱症状だとは認めず、彼らが主張する精神病の再発なるものに対して投薬しなかったせいだとコメントするのがお決まりのパターンです。
When a psychiatrist says that, well, the reason why they're feeling that way when they get off the drug is because, see, that shows you how bad they really need the drug. Here's the deal. There's no way that that's true.
The reality is, when they stop the drug, they get depressed or they have withdrawal effects of various types. And the reason they're having those effects is because it's a withdrawal effect from the drug.
All you need to do is you need to sit down and listen to anyone who's been on these medications and wants to come off them. And you listen to their story, and you listen to what they're going through, why they want to come off them. And that's it. The conversation stops. The debate ends.
My name is Robin, and currently I am withdrawing from lorazepam, and I am at the 0.4 milligram dose. There we go. Today, I was totally exhausted. I've had 4 nights, 2 nights of insomnia, and then a good night's sleep, then 2 nights of insomnia. I was just hoping that I can sleep better tonight. Didn't sleep good last night. Well, as you can see, today I don't care. I did not get ready, and my wave went down. I'm down in the valley today. One of the side effects or withdrawal symptoms for lorazepam can be night sweats or hot flashes, a little lightheaded and kind of dizzy, anxiety, sore throat, weepy, very, very tired, grouchy, just overwhelmed, distraught, distressed. I began to experience suicidal thoughts. I think I've said a little bit to my husband, but he was already worried enough. This is really the first time I'm saying something about it. I feel like I could have a nervous breakdown. You know, there are just times like I hit a brick wall and I can't do it anymore. It's going to take another, maybe 18, 19, 20 weeks to get off of it. And that is very overwhelming to me. I'm weary today. And this is how I used to be for many weeks with lorazepam. And that's the hardest thing, is you are trapped into living it out the way you have to live it out in order to be safe. So that's frustrating. I just want my life back. And that's where I am today.
ロビンは服用していた精神薬の一つだけをやめるのに何ヶ月もかかりました。専門家は薬を徐々に抜くのが唯一の安全な方法だとしています。
You just can't cut people off from these drugs. Sometimes it can take up to a year or more, depending on the person and how long they've been on the drug and how we wean them off.
You can't stop these drugs cold turkey. No. I would never advise anybody to just stop them. They need to be under the care of a medical practitioner.
When some of my patients come in and they talk to me about getting off of the
psychiatric medications, I really caution them not to just stop their drugs cold turkey, because that can really send them into a tailspin.
The data is right there. It's going to cause the symptoms that it causes. It's going to have withdrawal effects, and they know it. There's not a psychiatrist that doesn't know it.
それで精神科医は人々を心の病から救い、精神的な苦悩を和らげる唯一の方法は抗精神薬であると語っています。しかしこれは本当なのでしょうか。何か他の方法はないのでしょうか。効果的で費用がかからず、薬を使用しない手段、精神医療が裏切ってきた虚しい約束を果たせる手段はないのでしょうか。